Hello everybody and welcome back to Expert Examiner IELTS. My name is Glyn and in this video we're going to do some more writing feedback. Again, surprise, surprise, we have an IELTS writing essay, a task 2, and we start as always by reading the question, analysing the question, making sure that we know exactly what we're dealing with and thinking a little bit about the structure. So let's take a look at this question. Nowadays, in today's world, some consumers are less influenced. So some, not all, but some consumers are less influenced by advertising than in the past. So advertising is kind of the main topic, and consumer attitudes maybe, or consumer what consumers know about advertising. So those are the main things, consumers and advertising, than in the past. So again, there is a comparative thing there, that now, maybe in the past, consumers were very influenced by advertising, and now some consumers are not as influenced by advertising. Cool. So 2 questions here. What are the reasons? So why is it the case that nowadays some consumers are less influenced by advertising? Why? What are the reasons? Plural. And also, is it a positive or negative development? So is it a good thing that consumers are not so influenced, or is it a bad thing that consumers are not so influenced? So these 2-part questions, kind of easy for the structure here. I've made a video on how we write how we write introduction. So, watch that video. But we want some background information about, the nature of advertising, or the nature of consumers or consumer habits, why this is a relevant or an important topic in the world. Some reference to the question. So some reference to the idea that nowadays consumers, they don't believe advertising as much as people in the past did. And also some thesis statement just saying what you're going to talk about, saying that you're going to talk about the reasons. And also this requires a position, positive or negative. And so in the introduction, I want to see in the introduction if the candidate believes that this is a positive development or if it is a negative development. I want to see that in the introduction. Very, very simple. Body paragraph 1, the reasons, 2 reasons why perhaps some consumers nowadays are not as influenced by advertising. And then body paragraph number 2, just talking about whether you think it is a positive or a negative development and your reasons why. In the conclusion, we will have a quick recap, a quick summary of those reasons, a quick recap of whether it is a positive or negative development, and if we have enough words left, we might make some reflective comment, some extra opinion about why it's important or something like this. Great, so nice easy structure to follow. Let's see if the candidate has done this. Let's have a look. Cool. There has been a trend of some consumers becoming less influenced by ads in the past than in the past. Okay, so this is just a direct paraphrase of this. It's just a reference to the question. I feel like I just want a little bit of background information here. I just want it. Would I mark it down? I don't know. I feel like I want just a little bit, just one nice little introductory sentence for me would set it up more logically. Okay. So if I'm really between like a 6 and a 7, or between a 7 and an 8, that thing might just influence the marking that I give. Okay, but there has been a trend, great, present perfect, cool, nice to start with present perfect here, of some consumers becoming less influenced, are less influenced, becoming less influenced. Okay, cool, good paraphrasing. By ads, there's been a trend of some consumers becoming less influenced by ads than in the past. Maybe than people were in the past, maybe. So maybe than in the past might not be appropriate here. I mean, it's fine in this introductory sentence, but I'm not sure that than in the past quite works here. I don't know. Maybe it does. Just a slightly odd sounding. It just sounds just tiny bit strange, but okay. In this essay, I will examine the underlying reasons. Cool, I love this. I will examine. Nice thesis statement. Some people think, oh, you shouldn't have personal language in an academic essay. You shouldn't overuse personal language in an academic essay. To say that we don't use it at all is just not true. Trust me when I say I have done a lot of linguistic analysis as part of my education, and part of that means, analyzing conversational texts, analyzing academic texts, analyzing WhatsApp chats, looking at those features. And what we find is that academic essays, of course, they have less personal language, but it does not mean that they don't have them at all. So, there's nothing wrong with using I will examine in the introduction, nothing wrong with this at all. In this essay, I will examine the underlying reasons. Love this underlying reasons, really, really good. And again, you might say, oh, but reasons is in the question. Doesn't matter, reasons, absolutely fine. And I love this underlying reasons, shows good collocation. Behind, good, get this behind too. Behind this circumstance, I'm not quite sure about circumstance, maybe situation or this development or this pattern, perhaps. Circumstance, again, just slightly strange. Not a problem, just ever so slightly strange. And discuss whether it is a positive or negative development. Okay, but there's a problem here now. Cool that you've told me, but it is a part of the IELTS criteria that in essays where you have to take a position like this, is it a positive or negative development? The criteria clearly states that the candidate must maintain a clear position throughout. Now, I know another YouTuber. She doesn't make YouTube videos anymore, but she used to make YouTube videos. Now, back in the day when she was an IELTS examiner, she told me that in examples like this, is it a positive or negative development? She told me that if the candidate doesn't take a position in the introduction, this is a ceiling, and she would not mark it, she would not give higher than a 6 for task response. I believe she said, maybe it's a 5 or a 6, but she said she would not award higher than a 6 if you don't do that. Do all examiners think that way? No. IELTS is different to, should be, maybe I won't give you so much information here, but I will say that IELTS does have ceilings. It has what we call hard caps, which says, okay, if the candidate doesn't do this, you cannot award higher than X mark. So you really have to be careful with this. Some examiners are absolute hawks with this stuff, where they just see that, they cap it. Other examiners, maybe they shouldn't at IELTS, but some examiners do take like a more holistic thing, and they think, well, okay, the candidate didn't do that exactly in the introduction, but still there's enough, it's informative enough for me to award the higher mark, so I will. So there are some, differences in the way that examiners approach their marking. But trust me when I say that there are some examiners that will say automatically you don't get higher than a 6 for task response because you didn't take a position in the introduction. Use that information how you will. Again, I'm only passing on what I've said. And again, I am an examiner for a bunch of different exams. I am not an examiner for IELTS. So every tiny detail in the marking for IELTS, I don't know. Every tiny detail in the exams that I mark for, I know, but not every detail for IELTS. But, okay, let's move on. First of all, I don't like this first of all. So sometimes when you have like, if it's just a question like, what do you think, or do you agree? And you're going to use one body paragraph to say like reason 1 and one body paragraph to say reason 2, then first of all, second of all is fine. Here we have two different questions, right? What are the reasons, and is it a positive or negative development? So here in body paragraph 1, I want to see one reason why advertising isn't as persuasive as it used to be. Is that da 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 da. Right, and that's what I want to see in the topic sentence. So I wouldn't want to see first of all. But let's see. First of all, advertisers often give false information about their goods. Okay, we want to show here. We want some signposting language that tells us, hey, in this part, I'm talking about the reasons, and we don't get that, right? There's no language here. There's no signposting language to say, hey, this is one reason why consumers are less influenced. So that's, a little bit problematic in that topic sentence. We'll say the language is absolutely fantastic. Okay, and often give false information about their goods. Okay, is that true? Maybe it is true. They do often give false information. Yeah, fair enough. Can you explain this now? When consumers make a purchase after seeing an ad, comma, good subordination here. We have the subordinate clause, the dependent clause, and then the independent clause. They are likely, talking about consumers, fine. They are likely to, beautiful predictive construction here. They are likely to, nice bit of modality here too, likely to receive a product that differs from what they expect. So I don't believe that's true, is it? In general, when consumers make a purchase after seeing an ad, they are likely to. For me, this is too strong with the modality. They may, or they might, or they could. That is safer. I don't know if you have evidence to say that in a majority of cases, consumers get a product that differs from what they expect. I just don't think that's true. So that's a little bit odd to put that information forward. Someone commented on a previous video and said that I mark according to whether I am persuaded by the writer or not. I don't. I promise you I don't. I promise you I've given high marks to people that I completely disagree with. But to say that people are likely to receive a product, for me, that just means maybe the candidate isn't sure of likely, or the candidate doesn't know how to use the appropriate distancing language. It's not fair to say they are likely to without evidence. And so that's what makes it, a little bit strange. It's not just that I disagree with that, it's that without the evidence, without the statistics to prove it, you should use more distancing language. They might receive, they may receive, they could receive, they sometimes receive. All of that would be fine. They are likely to receive. No. Okay. As a result, so again, beautiful logical sequencing here, really nice. As a result, they, cool, may lose, great, we get that distancing language here, cool. They may lose their interest, cool, nice use of reference words, interest in buying advertised products. Is that a little simplistic? No, maybe that makes sense. That makes logical sense as a conclusion. I disagree with it, but it makes logical sense as a conclusion. Okay. For example, Uzum market, I'm not sure about the caps and the quotation marks here. Maybe put it in italics, I don't know. Okay. Uzum market, or just use, I don't know, maybe their branding has the capital letters. I'm going to forget about it. Uzum market in Uzbekistan tends to give buyers false claims. What does it mean to give buyers false claims? I don't know what that means, to give somebody, to make false claims to buyers, perhaps. Give buyers false claims is a little bit, just slightly strange. About their manufactured good. Is it relevant that it's manufactured goods? I don't know. Okay. During commercials, comma, causing people, really, really, really nice use of participle here, causing people to stop buying its products. Hold on. So Uzum market in Uzbekistan tends to give buyers false claims about their manufactured goods, and that causes people to stop buying its products. Again, I'm not wholly informed there. I don't know if this example is objectively persuasive. Not does it persuade Glyn James, is it as a piece of writing, as an example, does that academically support the previous one? I mean, the previous claim. It kind of does, but not fully. This, cool, nice referencing, this can be seen as a positive development. Because it forces companies to improve their marketing practices and product quality. Maybe give details here that it forces companies to be more honest about their marketing, and honesty is generally a good thing. That maybe would be better. A bit more detail to improve their marketing practices. What you really want to stress there to be more honest, and so you kind of missed that point that would have made it a bit more persuasive. And product quality, yeah, absolutely, to gain consumer trust. Cool. Again, really, really good collocations here to gain consumer trust. Great. What I don't like about this paragraph, though, is that we are mixing two things here, right? We're mixing reasons plus is it positive or negative development. And what I really want to see, I think the best, and again, maybe you will criticize me of marking according to what I want rather than objectively. Marking, writing, and speaking is always a subjective thing. We try to be as objective as possible, but it is always a subjective thing. What I just want to see the most logical thing. Take one paragraph to talk about the reasons. Take one paragraph to talk about whether it's a positive or negative development. For me, you're trying to squeeze too much in this one paragraph, and it just leaves this a little bit underdeveloped. Yeah. Okay. Another reason that complements the first, okay, nice use of complements and really getting that spelling right, because we have two words complement with an I here, which means, to say nice things, and then to complement something with an E means like to be aligned with or to match or to suit. Another reason that complements the first is the damaged products people often receive nowadays. Again, as a topic sentence, is this really informative? Another reason that complements the first is the damaged products people often receive. Does that answer the question, why are some consumers less influenced by advertising today than they were in the past? So let's think about that question. Let's ask it again. Why are some consumers less influenced today by advertising than people in the past were? Answer, because the damaged products people often receive. It's not enough as a topic sentence, so we need more details here. Cool. If they, the people, cool. If they order retail items, again, we get this, candidates really trying to use vocab here. And when you look at like this thing of manufactured goods, it's like, why manufactured goods? Why are you stressing manufactured? Are you stressing manufactured because you think the word manufactured is really relevant here, or are you just trying to use the vocab? And also, is this something that only happens to retail? So again, it just seems a little bit odd, like the candidate is trying a little bit too hard to activate vocab. Anyway, good subordination again with some if clauses. If they order retail items like furniture, accessories. Again, accessories is such a general word. Like what do you mean by accessories? Do you mean furniture accessories? Do you mean accessories like in terms of clothing? Do you mean accessories for technological gadgets? Like accessory doesn't stand as one like genre of consumer items, right? It means like something that goes with something else. So I don't know. And pieces of technology, again, that just sounds, it's okay, it's understandable. Technological gadgets or technological devices is better than pieces of technology. Okay, but let's get back to the main idea. If they order retail items like furniture, accessories, or pieces of technology after watching an ad about them, some people might not like the short form of ad. They might want to see the full form. Again, in academic writing, we tend not to use short forms of things. I think it's okay. I think the word ad has become established enough that it's not necessarily slang or informal, but you might want to be careful. Advertisements is the full word. After watching an advertisement about them, good, they often arrive damaged. Again, is this true? And how is that connected with advertising? I don't know. So if people order, now I've ordered retail items probably in the last 12 months. I've ordered maybe something like maybe I've made 20 purchases online, right? Not excessive, maybe excessive for some people, but I've ordered 20 things in the last year. Not one of them has arrived damaged due to poor delivery services. This really isn't a common problem. It happens sometimes. Um, I don't know if it's really fair to say they often arrive damaged. And I don't know, that reflects badly on delivery services, but it says nothing about advertisements, does it? I wouldn't if I ordered something and like let's say I ordered an electric razor. I watched an ad. I thought, wow, that electric razor looks great. And let's say I ordered it and then it arrived and it was damaged. I wouldn't think, damn it, this advertisement lied to me. I would think, damn it, this delivery service is awful. So you're not on topic here, unfortunately. Okay, consequently, great logical sequencing. Awesome. Consequently, they prefer to invest in such items from in person markets where they can check all details and even test them before buying. Okay, we're not on topic now. We're not on the topic of advertisements and being persuaded by them. Um, Great, even though, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. And we get that comma after even though, cool. Even though this seems like a negative development for companies relying on ads, comma, it helps people buy better quality products. So again, the candidate has tried to squeeze in this second part. Is this a positive or negative development with one short sentence, two clauses at the end of the paragraph? You are not paying enough attention to this part of the question. What are the reasons? Is it a positive or negative development? So you're not paying enough attention to that part. And this is why I think you should dedicate one paragraph to this question and dedicate another paragraph to this question. And then you won't have that problem. Okay. In conclusion, people are becoming less influenced by ads because of false information and damaged products. Full stop. While this helps consumers make better decisions, it may also hurt businesses that rely on ads to sell their products. Cool. So we have like kind of a balanced position here that there are it helps. It's a positive development for consumers. It's a negative development for businesses. Fine. I don't feel like this position has been maintained fully throughout. We don't see what the candidate's position is in the introduction. We get the candidate does mention throughout the text, what some of the positives and negatives are, but for me, not enough focus on this part. Okay. I will say the language is insanely high level, and I'm going to make a point about this in a moment. Task response 6. You didn't set out your position clearly in the beginning, and also you don't spend enough time on this thing, and also your reasoning just isn't very persuasive, and you're a little bit off topic in body paragraph 2. It might even be a 5 for task response, but I do feel like I am informed enough to award the 6 for this. Task response. Coherence and cohesion. Okay, so we do have the problem where I think you've approached this task in a slightly odd way by just tagging on if this is a positive or negative development at the end instead of paragraphing. I don't think there's like really appropriate paragraphing, and I think that lack of appropriate paragraphing affected both your task response and your coherence and cohesion. So for me, the paragraphing is a little bit odd. However, the signposting language, apart from the topic sentences, the signposting language is really strong. The logical sequencing is very strong. The use of reference words is very strong. Despite this problem with paragraphing, I think we have enough coherence and cohesion for an 8. It's just the way that things flow from one point to the next, from one sentence to the next, is just phenomenally good. It even seems ChatGPT-ish. Again, I've done a lot of comparative analysis in my linguistic research about the differences between AI written texts and human written texts. It's getting really, really tricky to tell the difference. So I am not making the accusation that the candidate has used ChatGPT. I'm just saying this looks like the type of logical sequencing that ChatGPT uses. There's also an interesting development in education where a lot of students nowadays use ChatGPT to get model texts. And so sometimes people's writing becomes more like ChatGPT because they're learning from the way that ChatGPT writes. It's an interesting, what we call like a bilateral relationship. ChatGPT is influenced by humans, right? By how humans write, and then humans are influenced by how ChatGPT writes. Fascinating, fascinating stuff. Yeah. Anyway, enough about my linguistic nonsense. Lexical resource, I'm awarding an 8 for this. There are a couple of odd choices. I don't think, we need to add retail items, or accessories is a bit odd, or why are we saying manufactured goods? But these are just minor issues, like pieces of technology instead of technological devices. Everything else is super on point. Maybe give buyers false claims, it's just slightly odd. But in terms of natural use of language, natural collocations, topic specific language, this is extremely high quality stuff, knocking on the door of a 9. Um, Grammatical range and accuracy. Did I find any grammatical mistake in there? In short, no, I don't think so. Maybe are likely to, but that's more of a yeah, it is a grammatical thing because it's inappropriate use of modality. The modality is just too high. We want a bit more distancing, but the candidate does make good use of distancing language in other parts of the text. There are no, as I understand, no grammatical mistakes, and there is a fantastic range of grammar. So grammatical range and accuracy is a 9. So we get 69886. Sorry, 6889. Now that comes out as, you might think, an 8.0, but no, it comes out as a 7.5. So it comes out as 7.5. Let's just make sure I'm getting that right. 7889 would be an 8, so 6889 would be a 7.75, which rounds down, of course, in IELTS, the individual parts round down. Speaking and writing, if you get 7.75, it rounds down to 7.5. Your overall mark rounds up, but doesn't matter. 7.5. So what can I say? This is advanced. It should be better because the task response is weak, and if the candidate learns task response, then the candidate will be absolutely fine to get their 8.5 for the writing. However, there are no grammatical mistakes here at all, and that raises eyebrows for me because like all the candidates who send me their writing, I have like a little bit of a back and forth with them on Telegram. The candidate's grammar level on Telegram in just the short exchanges is about B2. Now, B2 candidates, we expect mistakes in, maybe 50% or maybe even more of their writing and speaking, their language production. When this candidate speaks to me on Telegram, this candidate is not a C2 grammar user. When the candidate writes IELTS tasks, the candidate produces absolutely perfect grammar. So that raises suspicions. Now, I can't say with 100%, 100% proof. We can't use this deductive reasoning here. I can't say with 100% proof that the candidate has, cheated or used a grammar checker or done something like this. Using inductive reasoning, I can say that it's very, 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 very unlikely that the candidate who's writing to me on Telegram is the same candidate that produced this language naturally without outside help. And again, I will make that point that if you want accurate feedback about your writing, not accurate feedback about how well you can use ChatGPT or how well you can use Google Translate, if you want accurate feedback about your writing in test conditions, you have to write these texts in test conditions. I understand for many people this will be a pride thing or an ego thing, right? You might want to use ChatGPT, get your 8.5 on my very small YouTube channel, and then show your friends, right? Oh, look at me, I got 8.5 in IELTS, I'm so smart. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe that's one reason why people sometimes do this. Yeah, but, like I say, you're only hurting yourself at the end of the day, because when you take IELTS for real, you won't have ChatGPT, you won't have Google Translate or Grammarly or anything else. So if you want an objective score, then you have to write your essays in test conditions. Yeah, that's all I'll say there. Candidates should work on task achievement. Again, understanding how we answer questions, making sure that we stay on topic. It's so amazing for me. For me, it's the easiest thing. I believe all candidates who are like B1 or above, B2 or above, all candidates should get at least band 7 in task response. I'm not sure. I think probably 2 or 3 times on this channel, I've given someone task response of 7 or more. And I believe that all students of B2 level or above should get at least band 7 in task response. It's just reading the question, understanding the question, and expressing clear ideas, which I think anyone of B2 and above should be able to do with the right training, with the right teaching, and so on. Anyway, I've been talking for far too long. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of the candidates' writing. If you agree or disagree with any of the scores that I've given, or any of my feedback, please do let me know. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, and it happens. Again, if the candidate, really, really didn't cheat, I could imagine the candidate could be raging here, thinking like, I worked so hard on this. Again, I don't know if you cheated. I don't know if you used help of something. So, please don't take it personally. When I make these comments, it's not just for you, dear candidate, it's also for other people out there that might be thinking, should I use Grammarly or something? Absolutely fine to do it in your training and your learning. Great. If you're sending me stuff, try to do it in test conditions. That's not just you, dear candidate. That's for anyone that sends me writing in the future. If you would like your own writing check for IELTS, or if you'd like a free practice speaking test with feedback, or if you would like to take part in our free IELTS lessons, then more information on this can be found on my Telegram channel, Expert Examiner, and a link to that Telegram channel is given in the description below. Have a wonderful evening. Nice to see you all again, and bye for now.